while we are on the dupe photos topic, let's just dive right into ChatGPT.
I feel like we're switching from predictions to RIP.
People are going to sniff it out like a drug-sniffing dog, and people are not going to fall for it.
Because I started with photo dumps, and then I went way down the rabbit hole of listings and forgot about where I started.
How do I get more leads?
How do I stand out in my market?
Is it unprofessional to talk about my kids on Instagram?
Should I have one account or two?
Do I really need a personal brand as a real estate agent?
We are the Modern Agent Marketing Girls. We are two agents turned marketing experts who believe you can become the go-to real estate girl in your market, all because you are you. I'm Chelsea Peterson, founder and CEO of Modern Agent Social Club.
And I'm Kayla Fox, Modern Agent's content creator. Let us be your guide as we talk about what it means to market your real estate business the modern way.
So refill your favorite beverage, open your notes app, and get ready to build a business and a brand you're obsessed with. Let's go.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. It reminds me of Friends, the Happy New Year episodes where then everyone's pairing up to kiss.
You can't kiss Monica, she's your sister.
Right. And you don't want to kiss Joey, right? No, you don't want to kiss Joey. Such a good one. That actually is probably my favorite episode of Friends of all time. The one with all the resolutions. Because it's
leather pants.
Ross's leather pants, Phoebe playing guitar, wanting to fly in airplane. It's the whole thing. Is
Rachel
so funny.
gossiping.
Yes.
Chandler can't make jokes. What was Ross's?
He's going to try something new every day.
That's right.
Right.
That's leather pants.
People feel all ambitious at the start of the new year.
We are at the top of the emotional cycle of change.
Right.
If you've heard us talk about that before. That was in our 12-week year episode last year. But
yes,
we are all the intentions, all the ideas, all the motivation, and maybe not, to be honest. This episode is airing, January 6th. Sometimes it takes me a little bit in January. Like I kind of get like the post-Christmas blues. I'm so sad that Christmas is over. And now I'm just in the dead of winter in Wisconsin trying to claw my way out. No, I'm just kidding. But you will be in Florida at the time that this episode airs. So yay for Kayla and the Fox family. But sometimes it takes me a little bit. So sometimes on this day, I'm like, gosh, because, we go right out of the gate and New Year's Day is on a Thursday. So like now it's already time for the weekend again. We went from like a week of leftovers and Christmas movies and not getting out of pajamas to celebrating New Year's Eve to, now it's the weekend again. And now Monday morning, January 5th, and then now today that you're listening, the 6th, you're supposed to be like fully ready. And who's really fully ready for the new year after all of this? So
it's like you need a nap after a nap or a vacation after a vacation. Like it always just takes a little bit. Yeah, exactly.
Vacation after a vacation. So today is going to be fun, but we don't want you to feel behind. This is meant to be inspiring and just help you really honestly have fun with social media. Because if you're not having fun with it, you're not going to do it. And then you know what happens when you don't do anything.
Exactly. So last year at the beginning of the year, as soon as we launched this podcast, we actually had planned out the first 5 or 6 episodes. And then we rearranged everything because we were like, no, it's January. We really want to do some kind of 2025 predictions, like Instagram predictions, marketing predictions. What do we think is going to happen? And I've got to say, I think we did pretty good.
Should we do a little recap?
Yes, let's do a mini recap here. Here's a few of the things that we said, and only one of them am I like, oh, well, it kind of went that way. Everything else we were dead on, okay? First one was a personal brand is non-negotiable. That's still true. Storytelling is non-negotiable, which is still true. I think storytelling can always be improved. But you tell stories through your listing videos. You tell stories through your Instagram stories and your emails and all of that. Repetition and series style content. So doing the same kind of thing over and over again. That's more true now than ever before, right? This is the one that I thought, maybe I was a little wrong on. I said probably less B-roll and more face-to-cam content. I do think that face-to-cam content became more and more vital, especially as people were just slapping any kind of text over a B-roll piece. But that still works. But I think it works best if it's paired with other face-to-cam content that people can get to know you, right?
I have one thing to say on that really quick.
Yeah.
There's a difference too between content that you're going to see a conversion from and content that someone's going to be like, oh, fun, or I love this, or cute, or I'll send it to my
Yes.
friend. Conversion content probably will incorporate your face, your voice, something along those lines. It probably will not get a million likes or even maybe
Right.
10, but that is the content that builds trust the fastest, because when someone can see your face, they can like see your mannerisms, they can see your emotion, they can hear you. They feel like this is like a real human. This isn't some robot account or a version of ChatGPT. So that is why it's still important, even though B-roll is still going strong, maybe in a little
Right.
bit different ways, which we can talk about later. But
Yes, for
basic
sure.
cam is the conversion piece.
Yes. And so going along with that, one of our predictions was faceless accounts were going away, stock video, all of that. I do think that we proved that to be correct. Mixed media graphics, or like just less polished graphics. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just open up your Instagram app right now and you're going to see what I mean. Just things that almost look more like scrapbook style and less like beautiful font with a beautiful photo with a beautiful whatever, a little less
Or
polished.
even like mixing the two, like your first carousel on a carousel post is a video behind the text, but then the rest of it's just a carousel, or there's a video in the like it's a mix of things that you're going to see, and I think that still is doing well.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I love consuming those. They're fun to consume. Um, More face to cam content, which is definitely true. I guess we kind of touched on that a little bit. But then the last one we said was documenting over creating. And that is probably the most used phrase that we have used in 2025 on the podcast because it's true. That's like the secret to making content creation easy, is to not worry about creating content, but just worry about documenting what you're doing and then post it in multiple different ways over and over again.
It's tried and true in so many ways, because sometimes you think like, "Oh gosh, like I don't have time to do that." But it's like, but you're already doing it. Just open your camera. We're not making up a life so that we can create content. We're living our life and then capturing tiny little slices of it that we pull to the internet so people can experience what it would be like to work with us. We're taking that experience and taking it online so that other people can be part of it. And that is how they get invested in you, and that's how you build community and all the things.
It's how you
So, yeah.
stand out. It's how you become like the only agent someone would ever dream of working with.
So let's just go with that. I think like, we can wrap that up right now. We'll just say we're going to repeat 2025.
Yeah, I think that this has been a great episode, and I hope you all have a great day.
We'll see you next Tuesday. No, we're just kidding. We do have some more fun things to talk about, but I want to say before we even get into like our marketing predictions for this year, we're going to really hone in on like marketing predictions for agents, not like social media in general, because here's the thing. This is a kind of a secret, but I don't really care about the algorithm. Do you? Like, don't close your app. Now it's going to like destroy me. No, just kidding.
Right.
But I really don't care, because there are so many other things that it's not really about the algorithm. You don't have to worry about the algorithm when you're following some of what we're going to talk about today. You could say that that's the algorithm, but really what it's about is it's about people consuming your content. And in fact, should I just start with prediction number 1, because we're going to get right into this actually.
Let's dive right in, baby.
Prediction number 1 is, this isn't really a prediction, but it's in like social media is more like interest media now. People have been saying this for a long time. Gary Vee talks about it a lot. But that people are consuming content that they're interested in, which means you need to have some type of an angle to your real estate content. You can't just hide behind just listed, just sold, which you never really could anyways. People need to follow you for something more specific. And the content that you share needs to resonate with the people that you do want to follow you. So it's not so much about like how often we should post, or what does the algorithm want, or any of those things that can hold you up, or like what time should I post this. It's more about like, does the content you create resonate with the person you want to help buy and sell real estate or get more referrals from? That is like the anchor question that you should lead with every time you post a piece of content. What is in it for that person? And there needs to be some alignment between what you like to share and what they like to consume, even though you sell real estate. So like, what does that mean? Like, well, let's talk about some examples.
Well, this all comes back down to brand menu. It comes down to sharing more than just real estate, and even like the content cocktail, all of that. It's about mixing real estate with other things. So it can be as simple as like telling them a little bit about the market while you're walking your dog. Or it can be pouring a glass of wine as you say, one interesting thing that you found at a showing today. Mixing the two, it gives you something that's just slightly more memorable, especially if you do that style of content again and again and again. It's like it can feel boring to you, but that repetition is so important for your people because that's how you really stand out. But all that being said, this is all about standing for something, having an angle, not being vanilla. Like we did a whole post on that before, but just like standing for something that might even ruffle some feathers or might even make some people go, well, I don't totally agree with that. Like that's a good thing. How much do we post, Chelsea, where I'm sure a lot of people are like, no. But it also makes the people who are for us like, oh my gosh, finally someone said it. Like, I don't have to host 15,000 events every year. I don't have to cold call anymore. Like other people who maybe do those things and it works for them, they're going to be looking at us and going, oh my gosh, you guys are dead wrong. That's fine. Then you're not for us, But when you stand for something and when you add a splash of personality to your content, that's what builds like this interest media that you're talking about that makes people remember you for more than just the thing that you're talking about.
I think too, when you say that, if you can think about it like this, like there's so many moments with a client in a transaction that something comes up and you're like, your stuff, like what you're talking about, how it works. Someone's pushing back, someone's questioning. You're like, gosh, like I just wish the general public understood this thing about real estate, or they have like a misconception about what it's like to work with an agent, or they have a misconception about paying commission or whatever it is.
I guarantee everyone listening right now is thinking of something.
Like you're nodding your head, yes.
Yes.
Like it's the same for us with teaching marketing. Like people have their own, they think it works this way until they try it our way type of thing. But you have these things in your head. And it reminds me of like if I meet like an agent who just is not a social media person, and they're probably never going to be. And it's like, I don't want to tell you what I do. Like,
yeah,
like it's just that's not.
Right.
So you have these things that you just wish more people understood or knew or whatever. Like that can be your angle. That can be the thing that you lean into in your content. And not that you're creating content that creates negativity. Like we don't need to do that, but it's just having your way of doing something. Like here's an example. And I'm not saying to use this example, but you could be an agent who like, I don't do open houses. And here's why. Here's what I do instead. Here's why I don't hold open houses every Saturday. And here's a peek into my marketing plan instead, or whatever. Like A, that will make someone stop and listen. B, they're gonna be like, wait, what do you do? I thought open houses were like just a thing.
Right.
Like, I don't know how many times I've heard like a regular person be like, my agent didn't even hold an open house. And I'm like, maybe they should communicate their marketing strategy better, because maybe they're doing something else that's a lot more powerful than an open house, because only 1% of open houses sell at the open house. Or from an open house. So if you knew the stats, right? So like that could be a thing. Now, this isn't necessarily every post is about that, but it's kind of like one of your repetitive topics that you kind of lean on. Maybe that leads eventually to a free resource. It leads them to get on your email list, but it's memorable. And it can be something positive too. Like maybe your whole thing is about like making the community a better place, or like this is why I really help people buy homes. Like there's so many different angles you can have that become your thing. Maybe mine was, like I wanted to treat every client like my mom, my dad, or my best friend. I was giving you the same advice I would give them. There was no sugarcoating it. I was going to tell it like it is. Like I would tell my mom or dad that they need to do this before they sell their house. And I'm going to tell you too. I'm not being mean. Like that was my angle. And I framed it as like, I'm going to sit, like I want it to feel like we're sitting down having a glass of wine and I'm giving you my best advice. That was my angle. So like that could be your angle, but that's the way you stand out. You're not blending in like a cookie cutter agent. Like the industry almost wants you to be this like cookie cutter mold. Like I picture like these robots marching down the street in gray suits, and it's like futuristic, and you all do the same thing. You say the same thing. You have the same listing presentation. You hype up your brokerage. The end. Like
I'm bored just thinking about it.
I know. Like not fun. And it doesn't work on social media. So that is why we are saying this. So finding your angle is going to make your content super magnetic.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that kind of leads into another one, which is it's consistency over constant reinvention. How many times do we like sit down and think like, I just need a whole brand overhaul. I just need to redo all. I'm going to burn it all down to the ground, right? Think about this though. This is like it's an easy way to think about it. Think about if you went to go see Taylor Swift, okay? And maybe she played her new songs and that was like really cool to hear her new songs. But what if she was like, I'm kind of sick of playing all these other ones. Like, I don't want to play All Too Well 10-minute version anymore. I've sang that so many times. I just can't even imagine. Like, how many people would be so disappointed? Because first of all, yes, even the people who are at the show have heard that song 1,000 times, but that's why they like her. Like, that's why they're attracted to her. That's why they are like a fan of hers, because of these songs that she's written. So just like the artists sing the same songs over and over and over and over again, especially the longer that they're in the industry, you have to say the same message, and you have to have like show the same brand props and the same elements and show up at the same time of day. You have to do those things again and again and again. And you do it until you start to get bored with it, and then you do it a little bit longer because that's what's going to get you paid. Like, that's the thing that's going to like move the needle for you.
So when we say that, like, what is an actionable way someone could do this, right? And it could be through, and this is like one of the simplest ways to start. It could be through color. It could be through, you pick a color you're going to wear in your B-roll, or even like a color palette, okay? It could be like, I'm going to wear more bright colors. I'm going to wear more winter colors. I'm going to wear neutrals. And that becomes this consistent, you're branding yourself without forcing it. Like, it's starting to live rent-free in people's heads when they see another post of yours that has the same vibe. So really my angle with this is, you need your own vibe. If I get to your account and it's just like a million different graphics and just listed posts and just sold posts and then a picture of your kids and then a picture of a vacation, not that you can't post any of those things, but it's like the way in which it is done. Is there consistency? Is there a cohesiveness overall to the look and feel of your content? Because when you think about, if you're going to walk inside of a store, like picture Anthropologie. If you walked inside of an Anthropologie in my city, or you walked inside of an Anthropologie in New York City, or in Florida, it doesn't even matter. It's going to have the exact same vibe. You're like, yep, this is Anthropologie. And that is done very intentionally, down to the smell that is inside the store. And you can do the same thing with your content. So someone gets there, they land on your account, they see a post of yours in their feed, and they're like, oh my gosh, like, I'm in that town. I'm going to click on this. And then they come to check out, like, who is this? I like that. You want them to feel like they're walking into an experience. Like, I'm walking into Marissa's store, and it feels very approachable, and it feels very bright and fun, and like, I could ask her a question or whatever your angle is, right? Maybe it feels very like luxury and elegant and neutral and like a glass of red wine. Like, maybe that's your vibe. I like to honestly, like, this is a fun exercise, is if, like, get a piece of paper and write down, if your brand was a store, like a physical place, and someone came inside, what does it look like? Like, what color are the walls? What is the lighting like? What do you sell there even? Like, do you sell like local sweatshirts? Do you sell stickers? Or do you sell more like home fragrance, candles, and luxury towels that are great for staging? Like, what's your vibe? What's your take? What's your angle? Like, down to the music you're playing over the speakers in your store. What Spotify playlist? Going through that exercise will really help you envision, like, okay, what do I want this to look like on Instagram then? Like, let's match those things up. But you can start with the color, start with a font or two, and let that just kind of guide you. Or if you do reels, Ellie Sue Barrows on Instagram, her like look is, well, first of all, she always says like what the cool girls are wearing or whatever. That's like her wording. So her wording is consistent. Then she has this effect that sounds like someone's typing, and it pops up this kind of butter yellow font on top of her video, on top of her reel. So like, that's her visual consistency. It's always this like typing sound, butter yellow font in a little cursive font. And you're like, I see her in my Explore feed and I'm like, that's her. Like, there's like, I know who that is. And that is branding. And you can do it so simply through just choosing like a font, a visual, an effect in your reel, or the way you start your reel, a ritual. I call them reel rituals. Like, it could start with you pouring a coffee, pouring a glass of wine, lighting a candle. Those are rituals that kind of create it's like a brand cue that you're not telling people this is my brand cue, but it like alerts people watching like, oh, she always does that, or that's her again. And then they start to remember and it starts to stick. So visual consistency over constant reinvention.
Yeah, for sure. And that really brings us to our next one, which is like episodic style content, which is kind of what she does. She does the same kind of hooks again and again and again. And again, by this point, now that we have discovered her, what if she was like, I'm bored with this, or I've done that, 5 times, 6 times, 12 times, I'm over it. Then we would be like, wait, like that's why we wanted to follow you. Like that's what we liked about what you were sharing, But the fact that she continues to share that, maybe not even every week, maybe it's every month she tries to rotate something in, or maybe there's some that are a lot easier where she's like, gosh, I could do this twice a week. Like there's no rules here. And that's what's so cool about all of this is like we get to come up with our own patterns and like rhythms that feel good to us, but it's consistent. I can expect that in the next month, I'm going to see more content like that from her. And that's why I want to follow her.
It also builds trust really fast because you're like, oh, this is reliable. I know what to expect, which almost builds this layer of if I'm going to meet with you in person, I know what to expect because you're consistent here, right? It all relates. It's like, I say this all the time, but in case you've never heard it, just like a house has their first showing online, we always tell our sellers that your first meeting is online. Yeah. It is the first experience someone will have with you before you sit down at their kitchen table or you sit down across from coffee with them at a local coffee shop or from Zoom. They're going to see you there first if you're getting referrals and leads from social media. So another way to think about this is like with episodic content is like content that comes before the closing. Like we hear a lot. I don't have any clients yet, or I just started, or like, what if I don't have any listings? What should I be posting? And our answer is always like the majority of your content should not need a listing or an active client or anything because we're not really going to be telling stories about our current clients in real time. That's like probably not a great idea.
Right.
There's little things you can tell like, oh, this question came up or like at this house that we looked at had this feature or this thing or this is what I told them to look for. But really the majority of our content is content that comes before the closing. That's content that can become this episodic content, this like thing that you bring people along with. So like a couple examples, it could be like day 1 of selling real estate in city name in 2026.
Yeah.
Well, now every time you want to just like document, going back to the documenting word, behind the scenes of your business, you can bring people behind the scenes, mash a couple clips together and add that title, day 2 of selling real estate in Lake Country in 2026.
Yeah.
And maybe each time you're going to have consistent pieces woven in, like they're going to see that butter yellow again. They're going to see that same font. They're going to see maybe your front seat of your car or something you choose to show them. Maybe you're like an fashion girl and you always share your outfit of the day as you walk by the mirror. Like you're going to have these like pieces that drip through that are consistent, that aren't just like happy closing day to my sellers, happy closing day to my buyers, but it's like, no, what else is happening? What does it look like when I sit down with you at a coffee shop and we talk about buying a house? What does it literally look like? And you can paint that picture. Some other episodic ideas that I wrote down. One is like neighborhood 1 of 5 to search in if you want this, and this feature or amenity or location base or something like that. And now you're kind of speaking to your ideal client because you know they want a bigger kitchen or more yard room, or they want to be in walking distance to this thing. They want this amenity. They want their kids to have friends to play with in the neighborhood or whatever. So you're literally speaking to the mind of your ideal client by creating content like this that they then start to follow along with. And that's how you then become known to them and you stick in their minds. Or even if they already know you, that doesn't mean they know everything about your real estate business. They probably don't know anything besides the fact that you sell real estate or you sold that house or you had a closing. People need the in the middle stuff. Like that's how you bring people along for that journey. And that's like where the best content is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And what I like about this too is like the ideas that you just shared are kind of things that you're already doing anyway. So it's not like you're going out of your way to create all this content. Like you're probably already going to those neighborhoods, or you probably already have home searches up that, tell you about what those things are. Like it's not difficult, or it's not just something else to add to your to-do list to accomplish. However, there is a way that you could do this that could kind of challenge you to have more fun, which we always say modern agents have more fun, right? Like one idea is like having fun in city name, and like basically you can check out a local place. And this, again, none of these things, this is not like every week I have to share this now or every day I have to share this now. It's just you drip it in, right? So if you have a goal that like every 3 or 4 weeks, I'm going to post something like this, that's great. And that's only a few times a year. Like it's not even that much, right? But I love the like having more fun in city name, because how many times do you like drive by a place and like think to yourself, like, I guess I never really have been there. Or if people are like coming to your city and asking for things to do and you're like, oh, you should check out this place. And then you're like, I guess I haven't never been there, but I always hear people like it. Like it kind of gives you a reason to get out and to get more involved and to check out more of your city and whatnot. But it also takes people along for the ride. Like that's just really cool. The one thing that I've heard people say before with journey style content is, what if it doesn't go well? Like I talked to an agent a few months ago who had just moved to a new city, and I told her, hey, if you move to this new city, you should do like journey style content where you're like, check out, like explore the city with me. Like I want to learn more about it. And I think what she was nervous about was looking like she didn't know what she was talking about or didn't understand the community. My response to that was like, well, you're sparking so many conversations with people who can't wait to tell you about it. You're probably going to know more about your community than people who've actually grown up here, all this time, because you're actively seeking it out, right? But there's a creator, her name is Vix Meldrew. She posted a reel, and I thought for sure that it was a typo because nobody shares content like this. So Vix Meldrew started a series talking about how it was her goal to reach 100,000 followers. She had like 58,000, but she had this whole plan on how she was going to get there, and she started documenting it. So then she posted a reel several months later that said, be cringe, post the B-roll, pop a selfie on stories, use the trending audio, add the hashtags. It's how I went from 58K to 45.2K. And she's just like standing there, and then she just walks out the door, and her comment or her caption was, I'll see myself out. But like everybody was commenting like, was that a typo? I don't understand. And then once they realized, like, she was like, no, I messed up. Like it actually didn't work, or like something, like I posted something that ticked somebody off or whatever it was. I don't even know what the reasons were, but people were commenting being like, this is such a breath of fresh air. Like you see all these people posting their like success stories and how they like, now they have like $100,000 months and all of that. And you just feel like everything, like you must be the one doing something wrong. But the truth is, even the best in the business fail sometimes, right? So as you're doing all of this, I'm not saying like post all your failures and like air your dirty laundry. That's not what it's about. But it's just about saying like, it's okay to be a little bit vulnerable, and it's okay to have to adjust or like be like, well, that didn't work, so here, I'm going to do this instead. Or like, remember the time that I said I was going to do this every day? Like, well, I changed my mind. Like, that's just being human. That's being yourself. And let's be honest, you're the only one thinking about your content. Like, people might like to consume it. Like, even like the girl we just said, Ellie Sue, like, we might think like, oh, we really enjoy it. We really love it. Will we notice if she doesn't post that and for the next 4 months? Probably not. Like, we'll probably just forget about it, right? She's the only one. So we have to give ourselves some grace here. But I think like, if we want to lean into journey style content, we have to be prepared to give ourselves the grace to like make adjustments or to forget about it. And no one cares.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to go on forever. Even if you did like day 1, 2, 3, and you're like, I'm not into this. Although I will say, doing it consistently is when you're going to see the traction. But maybe you just feel like you're not excited about it or whatever, and you want to change because of that, whatever it is. But like, you can start something else a week later, and no one will know the difference. Like, just start a new day 1 or a new episode. Not even day 1. It could just be like episode 1 of blah, blah, blah. You could totally change the direction and the name. And speaking of like messing up on Instagram, is so funny. Back when Instagram like first was like a thing and people first kind of started using it for real estate, it was probably like, I don't know, 2015 or so. There was this girl that I found and followed. Her name is Adventures in Real Estate at the time. Now it's Adventures in Teal Estate, like the color teal.
Oh, yeah.
She posted this video that she had like 2 multi-million-dollar closings fall through in the same day. And she was like, the only thing I'm going to do about this is I'm going to order pizza and have a dance party. And this went in the time viral. And she got all these like agent followers and all this stuff. And like, I just loved following her, and her whole thing was her branding color was teal, even though her brokerage was like brown and yellow, but everything she had was teal, like down to like her lockbox covers, to her folders, to her closing gifts. She had like a teal fridge in her office. Like, talk about color being your branding North Star, that's just, it worked for her. And yes, content has changed a lot since then, but not really, because what did that do? It told a story. It was journey style content. It was real life. It wasn't the shiny, here's my closing day happy sellers with their sign. No one, okay, I don't want to say no one cares, but like when you don't know who those sellers are and there's no context or story along with that, no one does really care except
Right.
your clients that see it and they're like, oh, cute, you know? And not that you can't do that. I'm not saying that, but you can get a little bit more strategic. That is when you start to see this traction of like, oh, people are paying attention now, or they're finally commenting, or maybe your thing does flop and then you just move right on, right? Like it's social media, you guys.
Right.
It needs to be taken a little less seriously from the context of like being perfect, but a little more seriously from the context of being strategic. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me. I'm buying what you're selling.
Perfect.
Okay, another one that we think is already happening, but we think it's just going to become more and more important to lean into is lifestyle marketing. So here's the deal. Like, as agents, I think, especially when we want to prove our value and prove our worth, it is really tempting to just educate on Instagram and to show everyone what we know and to explain what contingency is and to explain, like, you're not actually sold, you're pending, like all of these things. However, if we're honest about the way that users, the average general public user, experiences Instagram and uses Instagram, they're not logging in because they want to learn something new. Now, it doesn't mean you can't ever teach anything, but it does mean we have to lean into some sort of entertainment or connection or relatability, something along those lines. And one way to do that is with like lifestyle marketing. And what I mean by that is like you want to paint the picture of the kind of life that your ideal client would want to live in. Okay. So, like, if you are really trying to attract move up buyers, then let's say that you are already in a home that you like moved up to and that you were able to sell. And now you have so much more space for your kids and you have an extra space to entertain. And now you have, you're always hosting or whatever. Like, show those things. It doesn't mean that you have to become this like home vlogger. It just means like show yourself cutting up the food or like preparing something in your kitchen and just saying like point of view, you took a chance and sold your 2.8 interest rate home and now you're entertaining your kids' friends every weekend or whatever, like whatever that would be. When you highlight those little things that you love about where you live and like the life that you live, that's going to make people perk up and be like, I want that. Like, tell me more. Like, it makes them lean in. And that's if your content can get someone scrolling on Instagram at Target or someone, I mean, gosh, even how many times do you see people at a red light scrolling through something, right? Like, if you can get them to lean in, then like you have done something well.
Going along with that, I also love if you can have like tell a story with like a really strong hook, but keep your B-roll or your like, I mean, I would recommend probably B-roll for this, but more simple. So you can have this simple B-roll, which again, kind of going back to consistency. Maybe it's you pouring the wine, walking the dog, having the coffee, stirring the coffee with a cute straw, whatever your thing is going to be. But you have that B-roll clip that feels consistent. The font and the colors are on brand, but then you have the scroll stopping text that might say something like, no one talks about what buying a house in city name actually looks like. And then you document your process of helping someone buy a house. Now, you might say, well, I don't have any content like that. You can just create it because you're living it every day. Like put a buyer folder together. Go to the coffee shop where you would meet them, grab a local coffee, tag them in your stories, and then use whatever content you got there in that piece of content. You can go do a quick little drive through of a neighborhood as if you're like looking at houses. As you're doing these things that seem like, oh, that's a lot of time to get all this content, you're also learning about your community, sharing about your community. You are supporting local, you are showing up, and you're showing up in a way that lets people see you as the agent. So maybe even you drip something in there like what's on the front seat of your car. I love that one. Or like maybe it's strapping a champagne bottle in. You don't need to actually go to a closing to do that, like to put a seatbelt on your champagne bottle, right? But just these little things that will build up your content library that you can then pair with hooks like that make someone stop and think like, wait, I need to read this. This is for me. I live here. So going back to like our beginning of this conversation, does B-roll still work? 100%. How can we make it more powerful rather than just like silly little text on top of a B-roll that's like flooding Instagram right now? It could be with having a strong hook like that resonates with your ideal client and or the location you live in, but then you have the personality mixed in because you are in the clip doing something that you always do on camera, like the beverage or the dog or whatever.
This brings me to another point that we actually haven't discussed, but I just added it to our notes. Let's talk about dupe photos for a second. Okay. We have historically been big fans of dupe photos, and it's a great place to go for inspiration or for like filler content. Like if you're just short on something, whatever, we've definitely used it a lot. There's even like video clips on there and everything. However, you guys, everybody has discovered dupe photos. And what happens now is everyone's content looks the same. And we've had big discussions about this in our membership because we've used dupe photos. We also use our own photos. We also use photos that we like plan with our photo shoots and all of those things. Like we try really hard to make it look like realtor lifestyle content that is different from everything else that you see out there. But it's historically been a really great resource. However, I don't think it's going to continue working for agents who want to stand out in 2026. Agents have got to learn to take their own photos. Like they have to learn how to recreate things and see things in a way. And we're really big proponents of this already. We have been for the last, like, especially the last year or two, but even, more for even from day one, but helping people like, hey, recreate this photo. Here's what you need. And we show them specifically, like, recreate this B-roll clip. Here's what you need, whatever. Like every single week, our members get something like that. I think that if you have told yourself you don't need to take your own photos, you don't need to document because you can just get on dupe photos, I think you're kidding yourself. And come 2026, like especially by July, I think that you will definitely just blend in with the masses.
Okay, with dupe photos too, I think it was always meant to be like it fills the gaps, right? It's not meant to be the replacement of your own personality and your brand. And the question always is like, I don't know what to take photos of. I don't like how I look. I don't know how to take B-roll. What is B-roll? Like it's time that you have to just learn. If you're part of Modern Agent, you literally have no excuse. And you have to just start doing it. You're not going to get better until you start practicing it. And it is literally not possible to get results on social media if you don't have photos of yourself. Or I will go as far as to say video of yourself. So we've just come to that point. I think we came to that point a year ago, but it is what it is. We have to get ourselves on camera. And this is like tough love, but there's no going around it anymore. And it, maybe you don't like what you look like, wear sunglasses. Like, would you not go to a listing appointment because you don't like how you look? That's like always my combat when someone says that. But of course you wouldn't, right? So like, let people get to know you, let people see you. And like, you'll get better at taking photos. You'll learn ways to take them that make you feel better about yourself as you keep doing it. Even if you start taking them and you don't use any of them until you take 100. And then finally by the 100th one, you're like, okay, I like this one.
Right.
Like it's part of marketing. It's like saying, I'm not going to put my headshot on my broker's website because I don't like what I look like. Like you just do it. But like, how can we go a layer deeper? How can we make sure we have content that actually, again, brings people into that experience of this is what it's like to work with me. This is me at a coffee shop, like you could even do this is kind of detached from real estate, but like day one of showing up until I build my on-brand library. Like,
yeah,
I wouldn't word it that way, but like day one of building my personal real estate brand. I don't know. Like,
yep.
You could try it, see what happens. The thing with episodic content is people want to follow along. So there's this account that these girls created and I kept seeing them like the reels in my feed and it was we're day 1, day 2, day 3 of posting every day until our friend Anna finds this account. And they made this account about their friend Anna and she was like a Packer fan. That's why I kept coming in my account because it was like green and gold and she's at the Packer game. But seriously, like this account has so many followers, so much engagement. It is completely random. I do not know that they are monetizing this adventure, but it just shows you that episodic content is what people follow. And then in order for that to be connecting to like, oh, I'm going to hire you as my real estate agent or I want to know more, they have to know you. It can't just be like a funny thing to follow, right? So like think of things like that. Like it's really all these patterns that we're talking about today or all these predictions are patterns of of our own like user behavior of what we interpret from how people are consuming content on the app today. So like that's really all it is. Like any of you could probably go on there and scroll around intentionally for 20 minutes and see every single thing we just said.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, you
try
will.
it. Like, just try it, you know?
Yes. While we are on the dupe photos topic, let's just dive right into ChatGPT.
Might as well. I feel like we're switching from predictions to RIP.
Well, yes, but I do think that the prediction is ChatGPT coded content is out. Like, is what do they say? If it looks like a duck and smells like a duck, it's probably a duck. Like, people relying solely on ChatGPT to create content for you, whether it is just to write your captions or whether it is those stupid posts, I'm sorry, that are like, I asked ChatGPT this and this is what it said. If you're relying solely on ChatGPT for your content, people are going to sniff it out and get so sick of it and tired of it. And here's why. Because by that point, they're engaging with AI. They're not engaging with a human. They don't want to engage with AI. They only want to engage with AI if they can ask ChatGPT their own questions that they're thinking of, or they can come up with their own solutions. Like, they don't really care what yours are, right? And so I do think that that is a prediction that ChatGPT coded content is out of here. Like, people are done with it. People are going to be over it. Now, this does not mean that you don't use ChatGPT anymore. I'm a huge fan of ChatGPT.
Not at all.
Right. There's so many things that you can use it for. And I think that you can even train it to give you more information. But if you are simply saying, here's a hook, write a caption for me, you're going to be so irrelevant that you're almost better off not even posting.
I also think, and this might ruffle some feathers, speaking of our angles, when you have the posts that just say like over and over and over again, like I asked ChatGPT what neighborhoods, blah, blah, blah. I asked ChatGPT what this should happen. I asked ChatGPT what my business, blah, blah, blah. I asked ChatGPT what my summary of 2025 was. That is information that you want to know. Like it's fun to see what ChatGPT takes from what it knows about me and gives me information.
Yeah.
But why does anyone else want to know that? The only thing I want to know from that is like the prompt that maybe you use for ChatGPT, but that is not helping your future buyers and sellers see themselves and picture what it's like to work with you or want to know more information. Like it's kind of away content and it's so redundant. It's so overdone that you think it works for you or it gets good engagement or whatever, and that's fine. But I want to ask you this question. If any agent in your market could post that same thing, it isn't differentiating you at all.
Right.
And it's not really serving you in any way other than to just be like, oh, look at me. Like, look at all this cute stuff ChatGPT said about me, right?
Right. And I do think it was more entertaining in the beginning when people were just discovering ChatGPT and like, how did it know this about our mascot? Or how did it know this about this neighborhood or this business? Like, that is amusing and it is like entertaining. And I will say, obviously, you and I do this for a living, right? So we're paying a lot more attention to this than what most people are. But that's why I do think that it is going to become like a giant ick and an absolute no-no in 2026, because I think people are going to catch up to that. And in the next couple of months, it's going to be like people are going to sniff it out like a drug sniffing dog, and people are not going to fall for it.
I think it's such easy content to create. It's brainless. It's effortless. Like you take a picture of yourself, maybe even, and you put your hook on it, and then you put the regurgitated ChatGPT. I mean, like there's way too, again, going back to interest media, there's way too many exciting things to look at on the app for that to be something that stays relevant or something to pay attention to, right? Like instead of that, like I would use ChatGPT to maybe analyze what content of mine performed the best and how could I like make it better, or what are some other angles, or maybe I want to bring in this topic. How could I do that? Like ChatGPT is an amazing tool, but it's not meant to become a robot. Like it's not meant to become our social media plan. Like it's meant to be used to maybe help you with it or to pull out like common denominators of like, you know, these are some patterns I noticed, but it's not meant to be the social media content.
Exactly.
Here's another one. Photo dumps. Photo dumps are all over, right? They're easy. You pull content from your camera roll. This is the opposite of ChatGPT because it's like literally content you took photos of or things you took photos of. But here's what I'm noticing with photo dumps is I feel like they need more context. Like even you take a listing and your listing like carousel is just like 10 photos of the house. Like that's kind of boring, right? Like how would anyone who sees that on Instagram be like, oh, like I'm gonna go look at this right now? Like unless you're on like those accounts like Mansions of Instagram or Architects or Parade of Homes Instagram, like where these houses are all just phenomenal and they're fun to look at just for whatever. I'm never like gonna reach out and go look at them because they're probably across the country. But like it's boring, right? So like my prediction for agent content with listings is that there's going to be more agent-centric listing content. So like the less robotic, the more you're going to see traction. The less robotic, the more attention it will get, the more it will stop the scroll. So I'm talking like you're on the front porch of the house that you're listing with a cup of coffee as your cover photo, not just the front door of the house that you're listing, right? So it's like inserting yourself because again, we're going back to if you are building a personal brand, the only way for that to stand out is to have you be part of it. So we can't like hide behind the houses and the listings and the closings. We need to like put ourselves in it so someone sees it as like, oh, she is listing the house. She's showing me this house. She's bringing me along. Even a tour. Like start the video with like, hey, I brought you a coffee. Hand your coffee to the phone so it looks like you're handing it to a person. Yep. You have your friend filming or maybe a tripod. And then you turn around with your coffee, walk the other way, go through the front door, and then you tour the house. Like just little things like that, having a voiceover with your voice talking on top of it instead of just, again, a professional drone, fancy video. I'm not saying you want like not polished content for your listing, but if you're using it on a website, great.
Yeah.
If you're driving traffic there somehow, great. If you have it in your social media in hopes of getting more leads from it or more clients from it, it needs you. It needs more than just a house. So like that's a good way to look at it is like knowing what goes where, and that's going to help it make sense for someone consuming your content. Talk about episodic content. You could turn a listing into episodic content. Day one of my city name listing with are perfect for someone who loves to host or perfect for someone who wants a bigger kitchen or whatever. And you maybe show your whole process and you have 5 different videos. You have like one where you're like, you know, getting ready for the listing. Here's the photos. Here's what I always recommend. And then day 2, it's like, here's the listing sign going up and here's like the tour that you bring people on with your coffee. Like there's so much you can do like that one, even if you did one of those with that one piece of content that maybe takes you a little more time will be so much more effective than just trying to do the bare minimum all the time and get away from being part of it.
Yeah, I completely agree. That kind of brings me to just graphics in general. Like I think what I like about photo carousels is that it feels a little bit more like raw behind the scenes, especially as you're taking the kind of photos you're talking about and like adding the text to the screen and all of that stuff and like adding context to the photos. It kind of ties back to just graphics in general and how, and we even said this in 2025, like less polished, more not that they're messy because there's totally a method to the madness, but they are a little more like behind the scenes feeling. So you've probably noticed like you're seeing little screenshots of text messages or their calendar for the day or the email or like I'd love for like agents like offer accepted or whatever, like those kind of like email subject lines, that kind of thing. When you add something like that to a photo that you have taken, first of all, it's fun to consume because it's interesting and it kind of feels like she's letting me see her inbox. Like, what's in there? You know, like, again, makes you lean in a little bit, makes you more curious. But then you can use those even just as like single photos. You can use those in a carousel. You can use those just mixed in with the rest of your carousel. But graphics like that are going to continue to resonate. And the other thing about them that I think why they work and why people crave more of them is, once again, people can't recreate it. Like no one else has your email subject lines. No one else has the podcast that you're listening to that you've added to that screen. No one else has that specific photo because you've taken your own photo. Like all of those elements all tied together, it just screams that's so-and-so. Like that's your brand. This is obviously Chelsea's content because that's her purse and that's her front seat and that's the bottle of champagne, like all of those things. What would you add to that, Chelsea?
No, that was really good because I started with photo dumps and then I went way down the rabbit hole of listings and forgot about where I started. Okay, this also goes along with repeating. maybe you come up with like a photo type carousel that you repeat weekly, monthly, whatever you want it to be. And like there's some that you'll see on Instagram, like 10 things I'm loving this week. Like it could be that, but it could also just be like, so we're starting a new year. This is the perfect opportunity to do this. You have like, talk about episodic carousel, photos of you. This is like hitting all the boxes. You have like episode 1, selling real estate in January 2026 or something. And then you put your city name in Lake Country, in Milwaukee, in Madison, whatever. And then in February, so you're doing a recap. But in that recap, you're not just putting your closing day photos or your new listings. You may not have a listing or a closing day, or you may have 10, but that would be really boring to scroll through, right? Instead, you're going to maybe do like one picture could be like your outfit that you wore to closing, and you put text on screen saying like my closing day uniform. And then the next one is my front seat on new listing day, and you have whatever components you would have for that. One might include your Summer Fridays lip gloss or something, or your coffee that you ordered from the local coffee shop. Then you have on the third slide, maybe behind the scenes of like your listing photos, or it's that picture of you with the coffee on the front porch, or you in the kitchen with the glass of wine, whatever, something like that. But you have these photos that basically tell a story and bring in real estate, but then they layer in these pieces that are only you. So like you want to be in this in some component, but you don't need your face in every single slide. So like that's easy, right? Like you can get these really super simply by documenting. But then you also are going to drip in something local, which I kind of said, like if I said the local coffee. So you want something local in there. So maybe you tried a new restaurant, you went to a local event, you ordered takeout. So this is being mindful to document things you're doing, not all the time, but like when you can. Whenever I find myself like straying from documenting, because like it's not like we're perfect. We're like we get in like habits and patterns too. I like feel kind of like I missed out. I'm like, I wish I took a picture of what we just, like it becomes like just part of your life. But there's also something to being present and enjoying a dinner without documenting it. That's fine too.
Right.
But basically what I'm saying is you're going to have something local, and then you're going to have something personal. So maybe this is like a new thing that you bought that you're loving, or it's like a picture of you and your family and something you did that month, or you went on vacation. But it's this mixed carousel of real estate, local, personality, and it's episodic because you're saying, episode 1 of selling real estate in 2026, and it's like January or whatever. And it's speaking to your local community because you put your city on it. And that post alone will do so much for you because it's like fun to scroll through. Only you can post it. There's different little pops of like surprise and delight within it, I guess. Like, oh, like I didn't know she was going to share that new local spot and like rate it or tell us about it. We don't need everything to be its own post. Like if we go to some local place that's new, could you make it its whole own post? Sure. Does it need to be? No. That also feels like it would take a lot of time to me. You're not a full-time content creator, so that's where these mixed content formats become really, really effective because you're not trying to like, oh, I got to create a post about my dog and I got to create a post about like local events and I have to create a post about every closing. Like, no, you don't. You just have to like find ways to mix them together so that it makes sense. And that's where those photo items are so cool because you can just use the Instagram text to add little labels. And that's all you need is a little tiny description. And then your caption becomes like a bullet pointed style list of the same thing, or just like a little blurb, like a teeny little blurb, nothing major.
Yes. Yeah. We need to like simplify it and take that pressure off ourselves. Like it, again, doesn't need to be so polished or perfect. It can be a little bit more off the cuff. It's funny. I feel like I used to notice like spelling errors more in people's posts over time. You don't notice that anymore. But guess what? Most of it is from ChatGPT, or it's been edited so much. So sometimes when I do see a spelling error, I'm like, that is so refreshing. That feels so human. And then like, it actually makes me want to read more of what you've written because I feel like you actually are saying something that might be interesting.
That's so true.
We have time for maybe one more. Is there one more that you're like, I have to say this so that let the record show that Chelsea predicted it?
Oh, I mean, the one that I have, I feel like I kind of talked about, but this kind of, I guess, sums things up too. Patterns are your secret weapon. So it's less about why did this post not perform well? Oh, what did I miss? Or like, I worked so hard on this, or what a waste of time. Like, it's in patterns. And that's where when you have this episodic content, or you're going to commit to doing like a series or like a monthly whatever, and you can then look back at the patterns of like, over time, did this seem to move the needle? Like, did people follow me from it? Did they save it? Did they share it? Did it start conversations in my DMs? Like, what was the pattern.
Mhm.
So when you're doing a series or you're doing a new style of content or you're trying something different, like don't do it once. Like you need to repeat it enough to be able to look at like, okay, as a pattern, did that work? So even if you're going to do like the monthly thing, like I said, like a January, February, March recap, do it those 3 times. And even then, because they're so spread out, I still wouldn't like that's probably not enough of a pattern. But the point is you're looking at patterns, but patterns with different things like the hooks that you're using, if you're going to keep that similar style hook that someone's like, oh, here's another one, I know what to expect. Or like the same on-screen text style. Don't change your text in your reel every time you create a reel. Keep it the same. Keep it easy to read. Keep it the same font. That will, like, even your story font, keep your story font the same. That is branding. Pick one and stick with it. And I think 2 episodes ago, we talked about what not to do with fonts. Please listen to that because there's some like really, really bad ones you don't want to use.
Yeah.
According to anyone that cares about aesthetics. And the other thing is like if you have a series, like keep your series title really clear, like repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. It's patterns.
Yeah.
Okay, even like how you start the reel. So I talked about reel rituals, right? Come up with how you start them and have that be the ritual, have that be the pattern. Maybe every time you do like a reel that has several clips, you reuse one clip that's the same every time, like opening your car door or setting your coffee down. Literally the same exact clip you already used. Mix it in with the new ones, right? It can even be like no one ever talks about what buying a home in city name actually looks like. You make that a series, and then each time you talk about a different angle of it, or you talk about a different thing, or your face to camera, or your whatever. So patterns are your best friend. They're your secret weapon. It's the only way to really see like, ooh, that's really working for me, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. Well, this has been really fun. I'm super curious to listen back to this come 2027, which feels so weird to say, to see how we did. You guys have to do the same thing and let us know if we were right or if we totally missed the mark. But I think so far, historically, we've been accurate. But yeah, this is so fun. We have so many fun episodes planned for you this month. We hope you'll continue to listen. Send this to your real estate bestie. It is so much more fun to grow a business with someone by your side. I'm so thankful that obviously I have Chelsea. My sister's also a business owner. I'm able to talk to her all the time and be like, okay, we tried this email, but we did this. Like it makes you feel so much less alone. So send this to a friend, listen to the episodes together. We'd love for you guys, especially like, gosh, talking about content, creating content with a friend is so much better than doing it by yourself. So yeah, so hopefully this has helped you and given you some ideas for, at least for quarter 1. Let's start there and then we'll continue to progress as time goes on.
I will add to, while we are here, if you want more clarity around your personal brand and like everything we talked about today, what piece would I weave in or what my angle should be or all those things that you're probably thinking like, I might not know mine. We are hosting another round of Camp Modern Agent at the end of the month. It starts January 26th, and you can go to modernagentsocialclub.com/camp to sign up, and you'll get all the updates about it from there. But we are so excited for camp. The first one was such a huge success, and we can't wait to do it again.
That's awesome. I love it. Thank you so much, Chelsea. This was awesome.
Bye, everyone. We will see you next Tuesday.
Bye.
I'm so glad we got to hang out today. If you're as sad as I am that our time is up, I've got good news. There are a couple of different ways we can keep the conversation going.
First, follow us on Instagram at Modern Agent Marketing Girls and introduce yourself in the DMs. Also, we always have a free Modern Agent resource available, so check out today's show notes for the goods.
And finally, hang out with other go-to real estate girls like you and finally create a marketing plan that works when you join Modern Agent Social Club. All the details are in today's notes.
XOXO, the Marketing Girls.